Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll call the meeting of the Common Council to order. Please call the roll.
Councilor Olson.
Here.
Councilor Fennessy.
Here.
Councilor Bender.
Here.
Councilor Sweeney.
Here.
Councilor McDonald.
Here.
Councilor Mazzolia.
Here.
Councilor Finsland.
Here.
Councilor Herrick.
Here.
Councilor Dennis Dahlbeck.
Here.
And Councilor Esther Dahlbeck.
Here.
Recognizing a quorum, I'll ask for the consideration of the minutes of the February 3rd council meeting.
So moved.
Heard the motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item number 6 is the consent agenda.
Second.
Heard a motion and second to approve the consent agenda as printed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
Item 7.1, Planning and Port Director Cirque is recommending to approve Gil Rogers' request to purchase city-owned property at 1127 Grand Avenue. No objections have been received, and he is recommending to put the property up for sale with a minimum bid of $350.
Heard the motion and second. Discussion? Hearing, seeing none. All in favor signify by
Bruce?
saying aye.
Mayor?
I'm sorry. Terry?
Is this the property that was torn down there where the old grocery store used to be?
Yep.
So does the person that lives next to there does he want to buy it?
Yes.
Is that this person?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried.
7.2, Planning and Port Director Cirque is recommending approval of Superior Water Light and Power's request for an easement on Lot 1 of Winter Street Industrial Park.
What is the pleasure?
Second.
For the motion and second to approve, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Item 7.3, Planning and Port Director Cirque is recommending approval to enter into an agreement with Maxfield Research, Inc. to conduct housing needs assessment at a cost of $8,500 plus travel expenses.
Motion approved. Second.
For the motion and second, Counselor Olson?
Jason, could you have a ballpark figure on what travel expenses are going to be? We're talking one person, half a dozen?
We're probably
How many
talking.
trips?
Oh, sorry. We're probably talking a couple of people, a few trips. I'm thinking $1,000 is about what the travel expenses are going to be.
And this study is in conjunction with what Douglas County has already approved?
Yes, at the Land Committee. They will be approving it at the county board in March, or at least it'll be in front of them in March. So yes.
Okay. And is this study going to get us for multifamily housing? Is this our goal here? Or?
It's pretty much everything, Counselor. It's going to focus in on rental. It's going to focus in on multifamily. It's going to focus in on single family. And what it is, and I was talking to Counselor Herrick a little bit about this beforehand, is, you know, we all know that we need a housing. We've got a housing issue. This is going to give us some ideas of what our units need to look like in a breakdown. How many units of single families do we need? How many units of rental do we need? Those types of things. And what I can do is get you the executive summary of what Duluth did. Maxfield did this for them last year, and continues to kind of work with them on that. And it really is a nice product so that we can kind of figure out where we're going to go. Right now, I can tell you we got a problem. I can't tell you how big the problem is, and I can't tell you how many we need to go to solve this problem. So this is going to really help us out with that.
Okay. Are these going to be open to the public by any chance? Or
Yes.
Or what? Okay.
Yes, indeed. There will be, I believe we'll probably be holding 1 or 2 sessions, but I think the big thing is the one thing that we've not been able to drill down to is they are going to be interviewing businesses and figuring out what the employees' needs are, because we're just not able. We've talked about this in meetings with the mayor and trying to figure out how to survey businesses, and these folks are going to do that for us. I mean, they're not going to get every business, but they're going to get some of our larger players in town where we know we're losing folks to either Duluth, Hermantown, you know, and some of the outskirts. So those are some of the things that we really want to drill down to.
Okay. Thank you.
If I may add, too, it's going to help with some of our block grant requirements. We're going to be coming forward with a consolidated plan update in front of you, and it's going to kind of mesh with that as well. So there's a couple of different things that are going on.
Counselor Herrick?
No, he actually answered the
okay.
question, so thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Bender?
Yes, I just wanted to add a comment, not necessarily a question, but Salvation Army is looking at doing a needs / programs assessment within the next short period of time, and it sounds like this will complement that well, because they're looking toward whether they have to do something in the way of housing also. So,
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? The motion is carried.
Item 7.4, Assistant Public Works Director Janico is recommending approval to award the 2015 recycled concrete and asphalt contract to James Peterson and Sons of Medford, Wisconsin. Further quotations for crushing concrete, fine screening, and crushing asphalt.
Motion to approve.
second.
Ready motion and second. Discussion. Counselor Sweeney?
Does it bring up a red flag at all that the low bidder is so low compared to the other three?
It's a great point, Counselor. It sure can. In this case, he's got some other work close by that he's going to be doing on a bigger project. And so I think that's the reason we got the price we did in this case.
Okay.
That's what we're being told anyway.
Okay, but it's substantially less.
It is, yep. Yep.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion's carried.
Item 9.1, Councilor Olson is requesting an update on the landfill.
Counselor?
Okay. Thank you. We talked about this briefly today at Public Works, but my concerns are that what are we actually looking at? What are we looking at for a time frame? What our options are? Maybe if you would, Jeff, just share what we talked about at Public Works today. I mean to put you on the spot, but it's probably easier that way.
Yeah, certainly. I guess to play it back, there's a few things going on at the landfill. The two easy ones, we had a capping project going on out there last year, and that's nearly complete. There's about a 3-week piece of work left to do this spring by Vite. You probably also are aware we had a fire out there on Friday the 6th, and our crews and the fire department worked together, did a great job of putting that thing out and containing it. And the third thing that Councilor Olson I know is referring to here is we have those two RFPs that we're working on putting together with New Gen Strategies. Council awarded that contract here a couple months back. And what they're working on, and what we're working on with them, there's two RFPs that we're putting together to go out simultaneously. One of those is a request for proposals on franchising the garbage collection portion of our operation, and the other one is an RFP that'll look for purchase or sale of the landfill itself as an asset. And the idea would be that those two things would go out, they'd be issued at the same time this spring and have probably a early June return date, so we'll have responses from potential bidders on those. And depending on the responses, that's what we'll be looking at in terms of where do we go from here. Do you franchise garbage collection? Do you sell the landfill? Is one of those two things good enough to solve the $1 million transfer issue we've been talking about from the general fund? I guess that's where we're headed. We've been working with New Gen, having bi-weekly calls here for the last couple of months, and they're putting those documents together right now. And that's primarily what they do for their consulting. They work with public entities that own landfills and do trash collection, and so they're a real good fit for us in that capacity.
Is there any conversation about keeping the landfill and trying to figure out how to, whether it be restructure the enterprise fund or just trying to keep it as a city landfill?
There has been some conversation about whether we need to actually sell it to solve the financial problem, or whether we'd be able to keep it and just maybe franchise the garbage collection side of it. And really, we won't know the answer to that until we get some kind of response back from bidders on each of those two activities, I don't think. So at that time, we'll have a better feel for what somebody would bid for picking up the 10,000 accounts that we have in terms of the trash, the carts that are out there. Whether we'll get a franchise fee out of them and how much that would be per year for maintenance of roads and alleys. And whether we even have a bidder on the landfill. I mean, if there's no potential bidder out there with a decent price that takes care of some of our outstanding debt or the liability on the thing, then it doesn't make sense to sell it. So,
Have we looked into the loophole of Act 20? Are you familiar with Act 20 and possibly being able to put a fee onto it and not have to reduce our levy?
A referendum?
And if not, can we look into that? There's some stipulations in Act 20 under garbage collection that could allow you to put a fee on. The landfill is completely is funded by tax dollars, right?
no, not 100%.
Not 100%.
No, I mean, all the other trash that comes from contracted waste hauling is all either a contracted rate or is charged gate rate at the gate when they bring it in.
Okay.
So there's a user fee on at least a portion of it.
Okay.
Danny, are you talking like a referendum?
Well, there's parts of Act 20 that allow you to establish a fee and then reduce your payment by that fee overall, but you don't have to reduce the levy. And then eventually, yes, Dennis, it would, you could go to a referendum, but it doesn't specify the amount of the increase of the levy or the length of the time of the levy, so I can get you this. And
Yeah, we'll take a closer look at it, absolutely.
I'm not one to, with all the outsourcing that's going on, the problems that it's causing the universities and getting into what was designed to be a moneymaker, just throw it all away because it hasn't made money for a period of time. But if there's a way to, myself and myself only would rather pay the city of Superior $18 a month in the form of a fee to the city of Superior than be at the grip of a private hauler, So there's information out there. It's on the Wisconsin legislative website, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Counselor Sweeney?
This is a generic question, but does the city have a developed strategic planning system that can be invoked for this? Do we have a well-developed strategic system within the management of the city?
This is not strictly landfill related, you mean?
Well, you can adapt it. Yeah, you can adapt it to anything, but this would be a great area, if we had one, to use it. And there's a regular system, strategic planning system that one follows. And so I assume we don't, by your look.
That's probably a good assumption.
Okay, all right. That would be a great step,
Yeah.
first step to develop this system, because in the very things that Dan is talking about and other things would be invoked in an orderly system. So, thank you.
Counselor Goldberg?
Yeah, I just want to say that I agree. I think it's an enterprise fund that I would hope that we could maintain. I certainly would not want to see privatization of our dump. And I think this all boils down to one factor, the money we have to pay the state. If it wasn't for that money, we would be in the black. Am I not right on that, Jeff?
Yeah, Counselor, to a point, I mean, it does have an impact, that's for sure.
I mean, they started out at $3, and over the last 6-7 years, they've increased it by 500%.
Yeah, on the trash that we bring from the district,
Yeah.
they have paid that, so it's a pass through.
Mhm.
But all the tonnage we pick up ourselves, the city pays that.
Yeah.
So as that goes up, the city pays, more for trucks, more for oil and gas, and more. It's 4 times what it was a few years ago to dump every ton in our own landfill.
Yep. Hopefully maybe we could work something out with Madison to make this acceptable for both them and us.
We will be meeting with the DNR next week. I'm going to establish meetings with the City of Janesville and some legislators to try to work this through in a different fashion. You're exactly right. If that $1.7 million went away, this thing would be cost revenue neutral.
Right.
And I personally don't favor selling the landfill.
No.
So I think we can find a solution that's not going to be painless, but I think it'd be less painful than some of the measures that have been passed around.
I've got a question, and this refers to the apartment building I live in. It's got a contract with Viking. That's from Duluth, correct? So if they pick up our garbage, do they haul it to Duluth or do they haul it to Superior?
That's a great question. And you're talking
'Cause
about
if-
Nordic Waste?
What I'm saying is if the Superior Housing Authority is what I'm talking about, they've got a contract and they bounce back from one to another. So if they're going to pick up garbage from Superior, couldn't they be required to use our landfill and hopefully boost our income out there?
Yeah, right now, no matter what, it's probably ending up in our landfill. But the way that some of those routes are run, and Chris Bronson and I have talked to some of these haulers, there's some routes that are run through parts of downtown Superior that run back across to Duluth, and there's kind of a combination, Minnesota and Wisconsin load, and they'll take that to the WLSSD, which eventually, of course, comes to us. But we've been talking about a hauler's license for haulers that work in town here, and part of that would be a requirement that they would haul it straight to our landfill at our gate rate rather than a discounted rate or a slightly different rate that the district brings it to us.
Okay.
So it would boost would boost revenue a little bit at the landfill. Yeah.
Significantly or minor? It's probably hard to say, but
It is a little hard to say. I can't remember how many tons were. 4,000 or 5,000 tons, yeah. So you're probably in the tens of thousands of dollars change if you brought all those tons at the gate rate. It all adds up though.
so when the waste is brought over to Duluth, what kind of fees do they have to pay compared to ours?
Well, the district's contract is about it's about $16 less than gate rate over. What we get from the district is about $16 a ton less than their gate rate if you drive a truck over and drop it on their floor. Our gate rate is about the same as theirs, so if they brought it to our gate, we would get $16 a ton more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If I may, I took interest in Councilor Sweeney's question and comment. It certainly was before all of our time, I believe, but perhaps it should have been set up as a utility, so that the utility is more self-sustaining than just being an enterprise. And I don't know if it qualifies to be a utility, but perhaps that is one other question we need to ask ourselves. I think that's what you were driving at, weren't you? Yeah. Okay. Any, Councilor Olson? Any? No. Thank you very much. Is there any further business to come before this body? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Opposed? It's 10 to 7. Councilor President Finsland, you want to start the meeting in 5 minutes? 5 minutes is fine. Thank you. We'll move to the Committee of the Whole in 5 minutes from now.
I'd like to call the Committee of the Whole, meeting of the Common Council Committee of the Whole to order. And I think we can dispense with a roll call vote because no one seems to have left. A roll call, not a roll call vote.
Councilor Fennessy is joining us via teleconference. Item number 1, with power to act, Mayor Hagan is recommending approval of the Carlson Detman Consulting Pay Plan, wage adjustments, and longevity change.
I'd like to call on Mayor Hagan for a few comments before we make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have before us what I believe to be a very favorable long-term pay plan for the employees of the City of Superior. There's been substantial work put into this, both from Human Resources, Finance, my office, and Carlson Detman, as well as others through the participation of the council. As you know, this is, to me, I consider this as phase 2. Phase 1 last year offered about 29 upgraded classifications, mostly in public works, if I recall correctly. In those positions that we've had trouble and difficulty retaining, let alone recruiting, I've been told by the Human Resources Director that in recent years, we've had difficulty getting qualified people to apply for the positions within the City of Superior. Oftentimes in public works, we might get 100 applications or so forth. Now we're getting a smattering of them, and that's indicative of a good thing and a bad thing. A good thing is they're employed elsewhere where they want to be, and the bad thing is we're not able to get the employees to do the work that we need to do here that have the qualifications that may be required and desired. So phase 1, it elevated a number of those positions, as well as the 2% raise that we gave to across the board. Phase 2 actually was intended, under my thought process, to be implemented on January 2017, because it would take time to grow, resource financially, as well as get everything in process. So the plan at that time was to have everybody, that sounds negative, and it is negative, but it's a positive, to have everybody at a minimum of 10% behind market rate value, because that's where we thought we were going to have to be with the resources that we may have had at that time. Fortunately, and I think positively, this particular plan offers several things. The 2% was enacted in January of this year. But this particular plan has given an opportunity for any number of employees to not just, number one, know where they're going to be next year and plan with their own family as far as the step process that was kind of absent, it was tired and old, and we haven't had a study for 20 years, as I understand it, from finance and human resource. But it also offers above the 2% a margin of additional market pay to bring them into the market with the comparables that were used. So importantly, it gives everybody the idea and understanding that through the step process, they're not only going to get the cost of living each year if the council should so desire, but they're also going to move to another step with regard to the seniority or the years of employment with the city. The package also includes longevity adjustments. They have not been adjusted longer than I know of, and so to come up to market with that as far as other entities, we put that in as an additional enhancement to the overall package. Is it perfect? No. I was thinking about this just the other day, and I'm trying to remember of anything that's been perfect. I mean, everything is a living document that is intended to be adjusted as time goes on. Even our own United States Constitution is a living document that is modernized to the current, to the past, and the future will of the public. Likewise, this document isn't perfect because it truly doesn't address everything that needs to be addressed to the likes or dislikes of some people and public, as well as maybe some employees of the city. But overall, it's a document that does work for everybody to some degree. And it's a document that is a living document that should be a living document, a working document that can be adjusted through discussions with employees and internally, council and so forth, to find out what is wrong, if it's something wrong, to adjust it to what it needs to be. So it's been a long, arduous process. There's been, flare of temper. I'm guilty of that myself. But I believe that it's beneficial to the entire organization. So I would ask that through this discussion, we adopt this and move forward, and then deal with the variances that need to be dealt with through the living and the working document. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Motion is made and seconded to approve. Councilor Sweeney?
Thank you. I have some points to make in terms of the overall process. I went back and looked at some source documents, and the first one I looked at, I reread the contract, if you would, that was between the city and the consultant that did it. In that document, one thing it spoke of was a Duluth Superior Metropolitan Statistical Area. Okay. Another thing, there was an item F and G. One, it said we will have external comparables with private sector, of which we had none. And it said we would then look at fringe benefits, and I don't know if we've completed that process. Then I went to the city council meeting where we passed what we said they would do, and the public and private sector was in there, and we would use the market. I was assuming that the market is the Metropolitan Statistical Area of Duluth and Superior, and I believe that Cloquet, City of Cloquet, but Carleton County is also in there. Then I went and read Mr. Carlson's information to us, and he stated that they made an error in the process. Somehow his firm, and mistakes happen every day, that the mistake that was made, they used all cities, and most of the cities that I looked at least, that were in there, are in the southern part of the state. Is that our market? I don't know that. I don't know how well it was defined, but to me it's not our market. Because there were no other, the closest city used was the city of Eau Claire, and then going south. Green Bay area, greater Milwaukee area, I think there was Fitchburg, which is by Madison, was it? There were a number of cities in there, okay? Private sector was not in there, okay? We were to use a blending. We did not use a blending. And so those things were, for some reason, we just didn't put them in there, okay? And then I went and read Act 32. And Act 32 doesn't apply to us, but it's very clear that the legislature said that greater weight must be given to the local area. Okay? And I realize that that's not involved in it, but it shows you the mindset. And why we did that or didn't do that, I don't know. Then I got this, the counties did a study about a year ago, maybe a little plus a year, and I compared the cities to the state, to the counties. And in this letter we received from Mr. Detman, he said it's a slight increase in the new system we used. I don't know what the old system was, because the old, I never saw it. I don't think anybody saw it that I know of, but maybe someone did. I did not see it. He said it's very slight, but I did some comparability with the mid-mark between the city and the county, and I don't know what one calls slight as a percentage. The numbers that I came up with are not slight. When you're dealing in double digits, that's not a slight increase. So I would be more than happy to have somebody check it over and make sure that what I'm saying is absolutely accurate. I don't believe the fringe benefit component has been studied. I don't know what the fringe benefit component is, although in Mr. Carlson's report to us, he said that must be taken into place. I don't know if we've ever been able to assign a dollar figure to the fringe benefits that our city has. I've never, if there is, I've not seen it. And I'm still wondering why the market became southern Wisconsin, okay? I don't believe that is our market. The county did not use the market. They used other counties in northern Wisconsin. They used the private public sector, and they used I think they used the city of Duluth, St. Louis County, and the city of Superior. So, and Mr. Detman said he would, at his expense, not ours, if it was our wish, to go back and redo it. And it's my belief that if he made the error, the city council voted on what we wanted. We did not receive it. The contract clearly states what we asked for. We did not get it. Why wouldn't we request him to go back and redo it? And I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, no charge. I think it's critical we have that other document to see where we're going. And we will make the decision in the city council, not Mr. Detman or his office, however the mistake was made, and we accept it. That's not, I don't think that's the way we should do business. So it's my desire and hope that we at least refer this back to Mr. Detman and have him do the study of the way we ordered it and the way the contract calls for. Thank you.
Councilor Bender.
Yes, I have 3 negative points and 3 positive to end on a positive note. First of all, the 3 negative ones. I did vote against funding the $30,000 study, since a similar study was done in 2013 by, I believe it was Jeff Thompson. And however, that one came out with numerical scores rather than translating it into steps and also pay increases. And so I was opposed to this due to the price, and since the same information could have been found by just Googling this on the internet. There are many that have been done by Carlson Detman and a number of other firms that have come up with similar statistics that we could have used if we had chosen to do so. There are many inequities in this due to raises in the step payment. But the 3 positives I would add are, first of all, the city employees, including the represented employees from ASCME 235 and 244, are in favor. I'm on the library board, and at the library board, I made the motion to approve this, since the library board and not the city council makes a decision as far as the raises for the library. And the third plus that I would mention is very happy to see what's being done for longevity. I think it's about time, and as the mayor had mentioned, that hadn't changed in years, so I'm glad that it has. So with that, I rest my case.
Councilor Dahlbeck, Dennis Dahlbeck.
I just want to make a point here. Establish the comparables. Those were done by a state arbitrator years ago. Am I not right, Cammie? That had nothing to do with us choosing them. They were chosen by the state of Wisconsin, and that's why those are being used. And that was done over 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Councilor Olson.
Just a few things, but in opening, I think the very most important thing that I want you people sitting out there is that I know a lot of you. Some are my neighbors, direct neighbors, and I've been against this study from day one. I didn't support having someone come in and do the study because I thought that we should do it internally if we are taking so much stock in our employees and allowing us to take $342,000 out of our general fund to issue you raises that you well deserve. That my intent is to support every single one of yous. That's where I'm at. But the study itself, as Jack brought up, was not what we asked for. The part where the comparables, I believe Dennis Dahlbeck had made a motion, and it was on top of the motion to have Northwest Wisconsin included in the study. And I don't know the dates on that, and that was agreed upon to bring them into it. And that would have been about a third of the way into this project. The other thing that I had heartburn over was that at the last council meeting, all of us councilors were asked to put in some suggestions, get them to the mayor, and I know that he had them, distributed. Mayor and I have talked. And I had 3 items myself that I never got the answers back that were pertinent to the questions. And one was when Councilor McDonald and I were in the office, there was 2 separate charts, and they did not match. And we weren't sure why they didn't, and that was it, and we were going to try and get that taken care of. I asked for those, did not get them. At that point in time, we found out that roughly 50 employees were over the control margin. 150 of yous were at or below. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't think that the 50 above that should be getting a raise too. But for those of you that know me, I am a labor man. I still wear work boots to work every day, and I believe that every single one of yous deserve the raise that the study has brought forth. That has to be clear, because I don't want any problems with my neighbors. I don't want any problems with the people that I have grown up with, and I don't want any problems with the people I'm addressing this to right now, no matter who it is. But the fact of the matter is, there was 2 charts. There was 1/4 of the people over the control mark, and that never got addressed. I did my job. I got those questions brought forward. They were conveyed. Thank you. The other one is I asked for a cost analysis to get everybody from below up to 100%. And I did that last calendar year. And I still have not seen that. And today is February 18th. That's my heartburn. I did what I was told to do so I could understand the study a little bit better. The other thing is the suggestions that I brought forth, which I thought were pretty logical, was to eliminate steps 1 and 2 and steps 10 and 11. Because for the folks of you below step 5, the control mark, roughly, it got you to step 3. It got you closer to 100%. And once you were at 9 and 10, I didn't understand the reason for 2 more steps. When at steps 10 and 11, you were at 106, 108% anyway of the study. Okay? The other point I brought up at the last meeting was that nationally, the average person stays in a job for 7 years. Now, I commend you people that have longevity of 30 years, 25 years, 20 years, 15, 10, 8. I've been in labor for 39 years, so we're an anomaly. And I praise every single one of you. The other thing that the suggestion was is from me is that some of you folks are going to be dropped to a different level or put at the next step, but you'd be at 80%. My suggestions with that, and it may have shown up if we'd have done the private sector study, was to any new employees come in. This would have had to have been at step 3, but put them at 80%, somewhat like an apprenticeship level, where you could go a 3-year period, whatever the city decided to do, 6 months, you could have as a probationary period, an apprenticeship program, whatever it could be, have your raises as put into what the study would be, what the rules are, what your employment would be. And I thought that was pretty easy. But I never got that study back either. So with that being said, I don't even know how much money any of this would cost, because if I did, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you now. I don't have all the answers. I do not want to, as we've referred to before, kick this can down the road. But I think it's important that everybody understands that something good has been done, but not all was done that we asked for. And in my opinion, if we'd have done what we asked for, what we paid for, you may have gotten a better deal. And as long as we could afford it, as long as it was in the budget, if it was something that the mayor brought as a living document that we could make adjustments to in the future, that's fantastic. But if we don't know what we're doing from the beginning, I can't support it. I can't support it. But I support every single one of you out there. That's all I've got.
Is there anything further from the council?
There
One more. This will be your second time. Go ahead.
I agree that like Dan suggested, the employees are, but we also have another client, customer, if you would, and that's the taxpayer. We've got to do things, and studies are done, and if they're done accurately, we make the best decisions we can. And so that's why I cannot support this. Thank you.
There is some tweaking, I know, that has to be done to this, and one of the things that came to my attention was the appeals process that is supposed to be done by February 6th. I think we can correct those kind of things. There are a couple other typos in there when it talks about mob markets instead of job markets on the last page. I think we have to be aware of minor slip-ups like that. But at this point, there seems to be no further questions from the council, so I think we should call the question. Mr. Olson.
I do have one question. In this motion, has anybody decided what we are doing with the appeals? Because I think it was Mr. Carlson's intentions that due to the fact that this study wasn't done properly, that there is going to be maybe some adjustments to appeals.
There is an appeals process, but I think the deadline on it is February 6th on this document that we have, and I think that's an error. I think we have to correct that immediately. But other than that, I didn't see any reason why not. We can't just use the form we've got.
I'm confused. What's the answer to the appeals? There will be no appeals?
I think we have to just readjust that deadline on there. February 6th is inaccurate, that's all. Oh, Cammie, you have a...
Yeah, I think Dan is talking about something different. You are correct, Bob, that the deadline date, if that's what you have on the form you have, would be extended to some longer date. I think, Dan, what you're referring to are the cost of the appeals. Is that what you're referring to? I don't know that I want to speak on behalf of Carlson Detman, but maybe have Charlie address that issue.
At the city, good evening. At the city's request, the appeal process was not included in the original contract, and it was left as an open item of discussion later on, as provided that a study was adopted. I offered to the city to handle the appeal process as proposed at no cost to the city.
I've got a question.
Hey,
if the council asks you to go back and do the study the way it was proposed, how long would that take? And, well, basically, how long would it take to complete that? To me, in fairness to the employees in the city and everybody, I think it should have done correctly in the first place, and it might be a benefit to the employees. So just a ballpark, how long would it take to complete this?
Fair enough. I would think something like 30 days. I think you would be taking this up probably at your April meeting, in all likelihood, assuming it was satisfactory at that point. I did, and I've reported to you that I went back and I did an estimate of what I thought the impact would be of using the county and the private sector data. I think that the impact would be it would lower the pay plan slightly. I think the estimate that I gave you was something in the neighborhood of 2 to 4%, something like that, depending upon which end of the salary schedule you were on. The financial impact to you would be that at the lower end of the schedule, employees would probably not see as large a raise as they would receive under this version. When I asked the question of the administration, so what, knowing this, what is it you'd like us to do? And I think the considered response was, no, we understand the rates are a little higher than they otherwise will be, but we're having such a tough time recruiting, we need the higher rates. What is happening by including those rates is that particularly in including the northwestern counties don't pay as much as cities. Your city comparables result from the fact that those have been your historic comparables and you've used them in labor arbitration with police and fire, et cetera. And so that's why those communities were brought forward into this study as comparators. So the net effect is, you betcha, I'll recast the pay plan, I'll bring you the alternatives. We can recost it, we'll see what it looks like. I don't believe that it's going to have a tremendously material impact on the outcome. And furthermore, I've offered to the city is if you want me to do this, I will redo the costing at the end of 2015 to take you into 2016 as well. So as you're recalibrating and you can see whether or not you're competitive, you'll have a better idea. What I think you're going to find out is that pay is moving. The comparison that was made to county positions, there is some accuracy in that in terms of differences of levels. But I would point out to you that the county data is 2013 data. They have not moved their schedule, and your data is 2015 data. So there's 2 years difference, and there's a lot of movement in the labor market right now. So, sure, we'd be happy to do it for you.
Councilor Bender.
I would make a motion to table this until such time as those corrections have been made. And looking at a 30-day window, so looking at, I think it would be like an April 7 meeting, something like that.
I would second that.
There's a motion made and seconded. Motion to table takes precedence, I believe.
Yeah, it'd almost be more of a motion to refer the matter back.
No,
to
it's
the
a motion to
consultant.
table is what he made. Is there discussion on that motion?
I don't think there can.
Is there discussion on that motion, Councilor Herrick?
Yeah, I just want to, I think that might be a good idea for the simple fact is that I think that's what the study is based on is the private pay rates. And that's, I think, why this whole study came up. And I would like to see the comparisons. Now, if there is a difference in what you were just saying, higher versus lower, I think we could vote on that as part of the option as well. So it's not like if it's lower, it's going to be lower. So that's my concern.
The motion on the floor is to table, and that would kick the can further down the road.
I've already spoken twice, so I have nothing to say.
Councilor McDonald.
My thing is, if we do table it, will we really be able to compare and make the final? Are we going to be allowed to do that? You know, if there's two studies, will we get to combine them or pick the final say? Is that something that we will get to do, or is that going to be done and then we don't get to do it anyways? So
It
we
seems
take the
like
lowest.
It's an inevitable delay.
Yeah. Okay.
The motion is to table.
Does council
Discussion of that motion, Councilor Mazzolia.
Does Councilman Bender's motion need to be seconded?
It's been
If
seconded.
so, it has been? Okay, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, I'll just make one comment.
Yes, Mayor.
I'll make a prediction that by tabling it and bringing it back in revised fashion, there'll be enough unhappiness to go around for everybody.
I can't imagine the benefit of tabling, but some people just seem to want to delay these things.
And I want to make sure that we're clear in terms of expectations. If we're going to go back and remeasure get the data that we have, we're using 2014 numbers because that's the data we collected as part of this contract.
Another point to tabling this is by the time this would come up again, we may have a different council. We could have other councilors serving on this seat.
It would be the day after the election.
It would be the day after the
It
election.
would be the following meeting, the April, 21st. 21st.
The motion has been made and seconded.
Well, I would make a friendly amendment to my motion to make it on the for the April 17th meeting.
I don't think that we can have the information by then, or have it digested by then. But
No. Oh, March. Oh, the next meeting?
just,
Next meeting. The March 17th.
yeah, the motion is to lay on the table. It's not even debatable. Oh, it's not even debatable. Well, the motion to lay on the table, our council presented us with the idea that, or the fact that a motion to table is not debatable. It should be brought to a vote. So the motion should be,
But is a motion to table amendable?
it's not debatable. I don't know that it can be amendable if it's not debatable.
What are we amending it to?
Changing the date instead of the April 7th, the March, was it 18? March 17th. And I think Mr. Carlson wants to say a word about that.
I can't have it to you by then.
Well, then I have no amendment.
Okay. Well, there's not been a request. Cammie.
I just wanted to possibly ask Charlie Carlson for clarification on your offer to redo the study with the market that the council asked, and what, for lack of a better word, what the ramifications of that are. If I think Councilor McDonald brought it up, if you do the new numbers and run the new numbers, then what we have before us goes away, like we never saw it, correct? And then when we get to the appeals process, there will be cost for each appeal.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Can't do
point of
both.
order.
Yes.
There's a motion on the floor and it is non-debatable.
Okay. Let's have a. Do you request a roll call vote or voice vote?
Either one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion has been soundly defeated, or soundly passed. Motion to approve the table. Disappointing. Motion been made to adjourn the meeting, the committee of the whole. Is there a second?